All right, John Bacarella here with your Lake St. Clair fishing report. Actually, more of an ice report or losing ice report. A lot of you guys were out earlier this week and towards the end of the weekend. I don't want to say all weekend because I think most of the guys started to poke around on the ice on Sunday, which was still a little bit sketchy. But I know some of you guys did get out on the canals this weekend, and I didn't want to do a report and send you guys out onto those canals because the ice was pretty darn thin. We were talking like 2 inches. The thickest ice I heard of was 4, so a lot of 2.5 inch stuff. So not really what I would consider, good ice conditions yet, but I know you guys still got out on the canals. So there was perch caught, bluegills, crappies, all those famous, early ice spots, including behind the Selfridge location there. Guys were catching some gills and some crappies, and today they actually got some decent perch back there, which was kind of a nice surprise because it's not known for getting a lot of perch. So with that said, I would imagine that the perch are going to be showing up in a lot of other places now that this water's cleaning up a little bit. So the drove around a little bit today, drove up to the north end of the lake just to take a look at things, and a lot of the ice that we had earlier in the week was really busted up and starting to get a little bit, soft, as you can imagine. We were 40 degrees today, and then that sun came out yesterday too and softened things up. So I'm guessing they're not going to be getting on the ice much this weekend, pretty much anywhere. So you're going to be back on the docks, guys. But if you're on the docks, the fishing could still be pretty good. For the guys with boats, down by the Delphine Channel, they are really hammering the walleyes, pulling cranks right now. I had a couple of different people come into the store today, and there were pics online, both of down by the Delphine and down on Erie. But Erie doesn't have any ice yet, so at all. So the guys down there are still pulling cranks and doing really well. I know Isaac was down there. Got a couple of pictures from him. I know he shot some video online as well too on Facebook. Guys up on the North Channel jigging, catching walleyes up there. We're selling quite a few shiners to those guys, so I'm guessing they're tipping the jigs with minnows right now with the cold water. But fish coming up there. If you guys are here local, be a good time to take advantage of the open water that we have around any of these pier heads with the water cleaning up. With the bite turning back on with a little bit warmer temperatures that we had, be a good time to get out there and get a couple of those last nights in, throwing those crankbaits, those bombers, rapalas, all that good stuff we were talking about back in November. This will probably be your last hurrah. So looking at the upcoming weather here, what do we got going on? Well, we got a couple more days in the 40s, and then we're going to do a little roller coaster ride. We're going to go into the 30s for highs, 20s at night, and then backed up to around 40. And then it looks like we should be getting back into good ice making conditions starting about the 22nd or 23rd. So with that said, you should expect to see lake ice forming out here. And I don't want to jinx anybody, don't want to jinx myself, but it looks like right around Christmas to maybe between there and New Year's, if that forecast holds true, we should have some lake ice. This lake is really ready to freeze. There were several places I drove this week that we had lake ice already. There was ice out in front of Gino's, from Gino's over to Beacons for a while there, and it's kind of busted up and all kind of floating around in chunks. And it was froze all the way from Selfridge, from the boat launch, all the way down to the corner by the barracks. So that was, I would call it thicker than skim, was probably about a 1/4 inch thick. But it was lake ice, so the lake is ready to go. So the next cold snap we get, she's going to lock up. Now there is something to watch. We do have some east winds that are supposed to come in, I believe, tomorrow. With those east winds, with all that floating lake ice, we could collectively see some ice pile up in here along the shoreline. And if we get lucky and get decent wind directions on those couple of cold days coming, we might get some to lock in there a little bit early. But it's not going to be anything to walk on, guys. So even if it does lock up, I would, don't even consider going out on it yet. But that'll just be setting us up for that next coming cold snap to freeze things back up. One last thing, guys, before I sign off. Tomorrow is the last day to sign up for the big perch contest. So if you haven't already signed up, come on into one of the stores, pop down your $5 and get ready, because the contest technically starts on Sunday. Even though we don't have any ice, it does start Sunday. So if you do get a big fish off one of them docks this weekend, bring it on in. So last day for sign up is tomorrow, Saturday. So that's all I really got for you guys this week. Stay tuned, and next week, maybe after a couple of those cold days, I'll give you an update if you try to venture out on any of this skinny ice that we got right now, please be careful. It is not going to be any stretch of the imagination safe. It's going to be very soft. The edges are going to be really thin, and I think you guys really need to stay back on the docks this weekend, okay? So we'll see you again next week.